The gym was silent except for the sound of my own breathing. I had trained for months, visualized every scenario, practiced every technique, until it became second nature. But as I stood there in that empty space at 3 a.m., sweat dripping from my forehead, pure, paralyzing terror, not of my opponent, not of losing, but of something far more dangerous, the fear of not being ready, the fear that all my preparation meant nothing. That's when I learned the most important lesson of my life. Fear isn't your enemy. Unpreparedness is. You know that feeling, don't you? That gnawing sensation in your stomach when you're about to step into something important. A job interview, a difficult conversation, a moment that could change everything. Everything. Your heart pounds, your palms sweat, and that voice in your head starts whispering all the ways you could fail. But what if I told you that fear isn't trying to destroy you? What if I told you it's trying to save you? What if the very thing you've been running from is actually pointing you toward your greatest strength? Tonight, I'm going to share with you a truth that took me years to understand, a truth that transformed not just how I fight, but how I live. Preparation doesn't just feed fear. Preparation reveals that fear was never your real enemy. Your real enemy is the version of yourself that shows up unprepared, hoping luck will carry you through. The version that makes excuses instead of making progress. The version that talks about what they're going to do instead of doing it. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to share isn't just about getting ready for a fight. It's about getting ready for life. It's about understanding that every moment of preparation is a moment of power. Every hour you spend preparing is an hour you're taking control back from fear, back from doubt, back from the chaos of an unprepared mind. Are you ready to discover why preparation is the ultimate weapon? Are you ready to learn how to make fear your ally instead of your enemy? I remember the first time I truly understood the relationship between preparation and fear. I was 19. Cocky, convinced that natural talent was enough. I had been invited to demonstrate my skills at a gathering of martial artists, masters, who had spent decades perfecting their craft. I walked in thinking my raw ability would be sufficient. I had trained, yes, but not with the depth, not with the intensity, not with the completeness that the moment demanded. As I stood before these masters, I felt fear creep in like fog rolling over the mountains. But this wasn't the clean fear of a worthy challenge. This was the dirty fear of knowing I hadn't done the work. That night, I learned something that would reshape my entire approach to life. There are two types of fear. The first is the fear of the unprepared. It's chaotic, overwhelming, destructive. It whispers that you're not good enough, that you should give up, that you should never have tried in the first place. This fear feeds on your insecurities and grows stronger with every moment of doubt. The fear of the prepared. This fear is different. It's clean, sharp, focused. It doesn't tell you to run. It tells you to be ready. It doesn't paralyze you. It energizes you. It's the fear that comes not from weakness, but from respect for the challenge ahead. When you're truly prepared, fear becomes your ally. It sharpens your senses, heightens your awareness, brings you into the present moment with crystal clarity. The unprepared fear chaos. The prepared fear only one thing, not honoring the work they've put in. You see, preparation changes the entire nature of fear. When you know you've done everything possible to ready yourself, fear transforms from an enemy into a tool. It becomes the final ingredient that takes your preparation from good to extraordinary. But here's what most people don't understand about preparation. They think it's just about practicing the obvious things. If you're going to give a presentation, you practice your speech. If you're going to compete, you train your technique. But true preparation goes deeper than the surface level. True preparation is about preparing your mind, your spirit, your entire being for the challenge ahead. It's about anticipating not just what will happen, but what could happen. It's about building not just skill, but character. It's about developing not just ability, but unshakable confidence. I spent years studying this relationship between preparation and fear, and I discovered something remarkable. The people who seem fearless aren't actually without fear. They're the ones who have prepared so thoroughly that their fear has been transformed. They've done the work so completely that fear becomes excitement. They've trained so intensively that uncertainty becomes opportunity. They've prepared so deeply that the unknown becomes an adventure rather than a threat. Think about the last time you felt truly confident about something. I guarantee you it wasn't because you were naturally gifted or because luck was on your side. It was because you had prepared. You had put in the hours, done the research, practiced the skills, visualized the scenarios. That confidence didn't come from nowhere. It came from the deep, knowing that you had done everything possible to be ready. That's the power of preparation. It doesn't just change your abilities. It changes your identity. It transforms you from someone who hopes things will work out to someone who knows they're ready for whatever comes. But preparation isn't just about the time you spend practicing. It's about the quality of that time. I've seen people practice for years and never improve because they're going through the motions without intention. I've seen others make dramatic progress in months because every moment of their preparation was purposeful, focused, alive with intention. The difference isn't in the quantity of preparation. It's in the depth of preparation. It's in the depth of preparation. It's in the willingness to face not just the comfortable aspects of training, but the uncomfortable ones. It's in the courage to prepare for failures thoroughly as you prepare for success. Let me tell you about the 3 levels of preparation that separate the truly ready from those who are just going through the motions. The first level is physical preparation. This is what most people think of when they hear the word preparation. It's practicing your techniques, memorizing your material, rehearsing your performance. This level is important, but it's only the foundation. If you stop here, you're building a house on sand. Physical preparation gives you the tools, but it doesn't give you the wisdom to use them effectively under pressure. Mental preparation is about visualizing not just success, but every possible scenario. It's about training your mind to stay calm under pressure, to think clearly when chaos erupts around you. It's about developing the mental flexibility to adapt when your original plan doesn't work. Most people skip this level entirely, and that's why they crumble when the unexpected happens. They've prepared their bodies, but not their minds, and when fear strikes, they have no mental foundation to stand on. The third level is spiritual preparation. This is the deepest and most powerful level, and it's what transforms good fighters into great ones, good performers into legendary ones. Spiritual preparation is about aligning your actions with your deepest values. It's about connecting your immediate challenge to your larger purpose. It's about preparing not just to win, but to express your authentic self regardless of the outcome. When you prepare at this level, you become unshakable. Not because nothing can hurt you, but because you know that whatever happens, you'll remain true to who you are. I remember a fight that taught me the difference between these levels of preparation. I had trained my techniques until they were flawless. I had visualized every possible scenario until I could see the fight in my sleep. But I had skipped the spiritual preparation. I had forgotten to connect this challenge to my deeper purpose, to my authentic self. When the fight began, my techniques were perfect, my strategy was sound, but something was missing. I was fighting someone else's fight, not my own. I won that fight, but I learned something more valuable than victory. I learned that without spiritual preparation, even perfect technique feels hollow. That's when I began to understand what real preparation looks like. It's not just about being ready for what you expect. It's about being ready for who you need to become. When you prepare only for the external challenge, you miss the internal transformation that's waiting for you. But when you prepare at all three levels, something magical happens. You don't just get ready for the challenge. You become someone who's ready for any challenge. This brings me to one of the most misunderstood aspects of preparation. People think that if they prepare enough, they won't feel fear at all. They think preparation is supposed to eliminate fear completely. But that's not how it works. Preparation doesn't eliminate fear. It transforms fear from your enemy into your fuel. When you're truly prepared, you still feel fear, but it's a different kind of fear. It's the fear of a warrior who knows they're ready for battle, not the fear of a victim who hopes they'll survive. I want you to understand something crucial about this transformation. When you're unprepared, fear controls you. It makes the decisions, it sets the pace, it determines your actions. But when you're prepared, you control fear. You control fear. You use its energy, you harness its power, you direct its intensity toward your goal. This is why prepared people often seem to perform better under pressure than in practice. They're not fighting against their fear. They're fighting with it. The relationship between preparation and fear is like the relationship between a martial artist and their opponent. An untrained person sees an opponent as a threat, something to be avoided or feared. A trained martial artist sees an opponent as a partner in the dance of combat, someone who brings out their best techniques, their highest level of performance. Fear, when you're properly prepared, becomes like that opponent. It doesn't diminish your performance, it elevates it. But here's where most people go wrong in their preparation. They prepare for the challenge they expect, not for the challenge they might face. They practice their presentation, assuming everything will go smoothly, but they don't prepare for technical difficulties. They train their techniques assuming their opponent will fight the way they expect, but they don't prepare for surprises. They rehearse their conversation, assuming the other person will be reasonable, but they don't prepare for emotional reactions. True preparation means preparing for the unexpected as thoroughly as you prepare for the expected. This is what I call adaptive preparation. It's not just about having a plan, it's about having the ability to create new plans in real time. It's not just about knowing it's about knowing what to do when everything goes wrong. Adaptive preparation is what separates those who crumble under pressure from those who thrive in chaos. It's what allows you to turn obstacles into opportunities, setbacks into comebacks, fear into fuel. I learned this lesson in a way I'll never forget. I learned this lesson when I was preparing for my first major film role. I thought preparation meant memorizing my lines and practicing my fight scenes. But I quickly discovered that my preparation was incomplete. I hadn't prepared for the pressure of performing in front of cameras, the exhaustion of long shooting days, the emotional demands of embodying a character. My technical preparation was solid, but my holistic preparation was lacking, and it showed in my early performances. That's when I began to understand that true preparation is about preparing your entire being, not just the parts that seem directly relevant. The fourth method is reflective preparation. This is perhaps the most important and most neglected aspect of preparation. After every challenge, whether you succeed or fail, you must reflect deeply on what happened. What worked? What didn't? What would you do differently? What did you learn about yourself? This reflection isn't just about improving your technique. It's about understanding your patterns, your strengths, your blind spots, your growth edges. Without reflective preparation, you're doomed to repeat the same mistakes, to be surprised by the same challenges, to be defeated by the same fears. Reflective preparation is what transforms experience into wisdom. It's what allows you to learn not just from your own challenges, but from observing others face theirs. It's what enables you to see patterns that others miss, to anticipate challenges that others don't see coming, to prepare for scenarios that others haven't even considered. This is why some people seem to have such good instincts, such natural wisdom. It's not natural at all. At all. It's the result of years of reflective preparation, of constantly learning from every experience. But here's the paradox of preparation that took me years to understand. The more you prepare, the more you realize how much you don't know. The deeper you go into any subject, any skill, any challenge, the more you discover how vast and complex it really is. This can be discouraging at first. You start your preparation thinking you just need to learn a few techniques or memorize some information, and you end up discovering layers of complexity you never imagined. But this isn't a sign that your preparation is failing. It's a sign that your preparation is working. True preparation humbles you. It shows you the depth of what you're attempting, the respect it deserves, the commitment it requires. But this humility isn't weakness. It's strength. It's the strength that comes from knowing exactly what you're up against, from having no illusions about the challenge ahead, from being prepared not just for success, but for the entire journey. When you're truly prepared, you're not overconfident. You're not underconfident. You're not underconfident. You're appropriately confident. You know what you can do. You know what you can't do. And you know how to bridge that gap. This brings me to one of the most important distinctions in preparation. The difference between being ready and being prepared. Being ready is about having the minimum requirements to face a challenge. Being prepared is about having developed yourself to the point where you can face any version of that challenge and remain true to yourself. Ready is external. Prepared is internal. Ready is about having the right tools. Prepared is about being the right person. Ready gets you through the challenge. Prepared transforms you through the challenge. I see this difference constantly in martial arts. A ready fighter has learned the techniques, practiced the combinations, developed the conditioning. But a prepared fighter has developed the character to use those techniques wisely, the wisdom to adapt those combinations to any situation, the spirit to maintain their center regardless of what their opponent does. The ready fighter wins fights. The ready fighter defeats opponents. The prepared fighter transcends opposition. This distinction is crucial because it determines not just how you perform in the moment, but who you become through the process. When you focus only on being ready, you're focused on the external outcome. You're trying to control results, to guarantee success, to eliminate uncertainty. But when you focus on being prepared, you're focused on internal development. You're trying to grow yourself, to express your potential, to become worthy of the challenge you're facing. The irony is that the more you focus on being prepared rather than just ready, the better your external results become. When you're truly prepared, you're not attached to specific outcomes because you know that your preparation has value regardless of what happens. You're not afraid of failure because you know that your preparation has already succeeded in making you stronger, wiser, more capable. You're not desperate for victory because you know that your preparation has already given you the greatest victory of all, the victory over your own limitations. This is why preparation defeats fear every time. Not because it guarantees success, but because it guarantees growth. Not because it eliminates uncertainty, but because it builds your capacity to thrive in uncertainty. Not because it makes you invincible, but because it makes you anti-fragile. When you're truly prepared, challenges don't break you down, they build you up. Obstacles don't stop you, they strengthen you. Fear doesn't paralyze you, it energizes you. But let me be clear about something. This kind of preparation isn't easy. It requires a level of commitment that most people aren't willing to make. It demands that you face uncomfortable truths about yourself, that you spend time on activities that don't provide immediate gratification, that you invest in long-term growth rather than short-term comfort. It asks you to become a different kind of person, someone who values excellence over ease, growth over comfort, authenticity over approval. The path of true preparation is lonely sometimes. While others are seeking quick fixes and shortcuts, you're doing the deep work. While others are hoping for luck, you're creating certainty through effort. While others are making excuses, you're making progress. This loneliness is temporary. The strength you build through preparation, the confidence you develop through facing your fears, the wisdom you gain through reflective practice, these things last forever. I want to share with you now a story that illustrates everything I've been teaching you about the relationship between preparation and fear. It was 1967, and I was facing the biggest challenge of my martial arts career. A traditional kung fu master had challenged me to a fight that would determine whether I could continue teaching martial arts to non-Chinese students. The entire future of my school, my philosophy, my way of life, was on the line. The fear was unlike anything I had ever experienced. Not just fear of losing the fight, but fear of losing my purpose, my identity, my ability to share what I had learned. In the months leading up to this confrontation, I could have prepared in the traditional way. I could have practiced my techniques, developed my conditioning, studied my opponent's style. And I did all of those things. But I also did something more. I prepared myself spiritually for the possibility that I might lose everything I had worked for. I prepared myself mentally for the criticism and rejection that might follow. I prepared myself emotionally for the pain of watching my dreams crumble. This wasn't negative thinking. This was complete preparation. By the time the day of the fight arrived, I felt a strange kind of peace. Yes, I was afraid, but it was the clean fear of someone who had done everything possible to be ready. I had prepared not just to win, but to face whatever outcome emerged with dignity and grace. I had prepared not just my fighting skills, but my character. I had prepared not just for success, but for the entire spectrum of human experience that this challenge might bring. The fight itself lasted only a few minutes, but those minutes contained a lifetime of learning. My opponent was skilled, traditional, powerful, but my preparation had made me something he wasn't expecting. I wasn't just a fighter trying to win. I was a prepared warrior, expressing his authentic self through combat. Every technique I threw came not from desperation or aggression, but from the deep well of preparation I had built over months of training. When the fight ended and I had won, the victory felt almost secondary to the preparation that had made it possible. But here's what I learned from that experience that changed everything for me. The real victory wasn't in defeating my opponent. The real victory was in discovering that my preparation had transformed me into someone who could face the ultimate test of my beliefs and remain true to myself. The fear I had felt wasn't my enemy. It was mighty. It had shown me exactly what I needed to prepare for, exactly where my weaknesses lay, exactly what kind of person I needed to become. That's when I understood the deepest truth about preparation and fear. They're not opposites, they're partners. Fear shows you what you need to prepare for. Preparation gives you the tools to transform fear into power. Fear without preparation is paralysis. Preparation without fear is complacency. But fear plus preparation equals growth, evolution, transcendence. When you learn to see fear as information rather than intimidation, as guidance rather than opposition, everything changes. Now, I want to give you a challenge, a way to begin transforming your own relationship with fear through preparation. For the next 30 days, I want you to identify one fear that has been holding you back. Not a small fear, not a comfortable fear, but a real fear. Something that makes your stomach tighten when you think about it. Something you've been avoiding or postponing or making excuses about. Once you've identified this fear, I want you to begin preparing to face it using the methods I've shared with you. Start with scenario preparation. Spend time visualizing not just success, but every possible outcome. See yourself handling setbacks with grace, adapting to unexpected challenges, maintaining your center regardless of what happens. Make the unknown known through the power of your imagination. Then move to progressive preparation. Break your ultimate challenge down into smaller steps that you can master one at a time. Build your confidence and competence gradually, proving to yourself repeatedly that you can handle pressure and perform when it matters. Next, embrace holistic preparation. Don't just prepare the obvious skill. Prepare your entire being for this challenge. Work on your physical energy, your mental clarity, your emotional stability, your spiritual centeredness. Everything is connected, and your preparation should reflect these connections. Finally, commit to reflective preparation. After each step of your journey, take time to reflect deeply on what you're learning about yourself, about the challenge, about the relationship between fear and growth. But remember, this isn't about eliminating fear. This is about transforming your relationship with fear. This is about discovering that the very thing you've been running from is actually pointing you toward your greatest opportunity for growth. This is about learning that preparation doesn't just defeat fear. Preparation reveals that fear was never your enemy in the first place. Fear was your teacher, your guide, your invitation to become more than you ever thought possible. As we come to the end of our time together, I want you to remember something crucial. Everything I've shared with you about preparation and fear applies not just to the big challenges, the obvious tests, the dramatic moments. It applies to every day of your life. Every conversation is a chance to practice authentic expression. Every obstacle is an opportunity to practice adaptive thinking. Every setback is a chance to practice reflective learning. Every moment of discomfort is an invitation to practice transforming fear into fuel. The warrior's path isn't about avoiding fear. It's about preparing so thoroughly that fear becomes your ally instead of your enemy. It's about developing yourself so completely that challenges become opportunities for expression rather than tests of survival. It's about growing so continuously that what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. This is the true power of preparation, not just to help you succeed in specific challenges, but to transform you into the kind of person who can face any challenge with confidence, grace, and authenticity. Remember, fear is not your enemy. Oh, it's trying to prepare you. Fear is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're about to grow. When you understand this, when you really embrace this truth, everything changes. You stop running from fear and start running toward it. You stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing them as gifts. You stop hoping you'll be ready and start making sure you're prepared. The mirror of your life is always reflecting back to you the level of your preparation. When you see fear, you're seeing an invitation to prepare more deeply. When you see obstacles, you're seeing opportunities to grow stronger. When you see uncertainty, you're seeing the raw material for building unshakable confidence. The choice is always yours. You can remain unprepared and let fear control you, or you can commit to the path of preparation and learn to control fear. You can hope for the best, or you can prepare for anything and create your own best. Preparation defeats fear every time. Not by eliminating it, but by transforming it. Not by avoiding it, but by embracing it. Not by making you fearless, but by making you fearless. When you're truly prepared, you still feel fear, but fear no longer feels like your master. It feels like your fuel. It feels like your friend. It feels like your friend. It feels like your guide towards becoming everything you're capable of becoming. This is the path of true strength. This is how you transform fear from your greatest enemy into your most powerful ally. Be prepared, my friend. Be ready for anything, and watch as fear becomes the very force that propels you toward your destiny.